Today, we are going back to court with Judge M. So we're going to be flying to Utah. We were supposed to have 2 hearings today, and that's not exactly how the day is going to pan out now, is it? No, it's not. So buckle up, law nerds. We've got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about an order from the court from yesterday. Then we're going to go to court for the hearing today. This is from July 30th, yesterday. Ruling continuing restitution hearing. This matter is set for a restitution hearing on July 31st, 2026. The state filed its motion for restitution on July 23rd, 2026. The defendant's deadline to respond to the motion is August 6th, unless extended by stipulation of the parties or by order of the court. In light of the foregoing, the court hereby continues the restitution hearing in this matter to August 28th, 2026 at 1:30 p.m. Boo! This is in the murder case. Remember, with Kouri Richins, there is a murder case that is now in its kind of post-trial phase. We've still got that motion for new trial pending. We have a restitution hearing pending. There is a hearing set in one of the civil cases that Kouri Richins still doesn't have a lawyer for. So she might be arguing that hearing pro per in October. So I am keeping an eye on the civil cases as well. And then we have the fraud case. The fraud case has 26 charges. We're going to take a look real fast at some of the tea in the fraud prosecution information. On October 13th, 2020, Eric Richins consulted an estate planning lawyer. We saw this testimony in the trial. Eric wanted to put money away to protect his children. And they say that he did this, quote, from recently discovered and ongoing abuse and misuse of his finances by the defendant and to protect his 3 children in the long term and ensuring that the defendant would never be able to manage his property after his death. In the 5 months prior to Eric's death, K. Richins Realty realized $170,000 in revenue, while its monthly debt servicing exceeded $250,000. It borrowed from over 25 lenders to support itself and service its debt obligations. Despite K. Richins Realty existing debt and insufficient revenue, the defendant continued to use hard money loans to purchase 3 additional properties in November 2021. When the defendant closed on the 3 properties on November 30th, 2021, she added $1.1 million in high interest debt to her already staggering and unserviceable debt load. By that day, she had already defaulted on 1 loan and was delinquent on several others. She continued efforts to borrow from new high-interest lenders and meet her existing obligations. And this starts getting into the causes of action here. On the day of Eric Richins' death, K. Richins Realty owed hard money lenders at least $1.8 million, and the day after Eric's death, it owed nearly $5 million. Defendant submitted a falsified bank statement to Iron Bridge Financial in support of a mortgage loan application. This starts to break down, and we're going to jump through some of these quickly. The same type of scheme that we saw in the murder trial with her like cutting and pasting her business bank information onto C&E Stonemasonry's bank information. So she would take the header and footer from hers and use the body of Eric Richins. On July 2nd, 2021, while processing the mortgage loan, an Iron Bridge representative noted to the defendant, quote, "When I ran your credit, it was lower than I expected. Looks like there are some delinquencies with regards to a few credit cards. I was just a bit surprised by that. I know you have a lot of $, money in the bank to cover expenses." 3 days later, defendant explained, quote, "I recently learned about all of this as well. LOL. And then my husband tried to explain to me this was his doing a while ago. Ellipses. We are in the process of separation for one of many reasons, but this is one of them, to keep it short and sweet. LOL. It's been crazy to say the least, exclamation point." Continuing on, defendant issued a series of bad checks and laundered money, and then they go through literally the check kiting where she is using the TikTok infinite money glitch to try to move money around before it could catch up. Defendant fraudulently extracted $45,000 from her best friend. When this was filed, this was the first time we actually learned the full picture of like, bitch stole her best friend's house. Defendant submitted falsified insurance application on Eric Richins' life. Defendant attempted to murder Eric Richins for pecuniary gain. This is the breakdown of the Valentine's Day incident. What's interesting here is we learn a lot more about the witness, Hayden Jeffs, and that conversation that we didn't see in the murder trial, because in the meantime, he was in a motorcycle collision and passed. So we saw his partner testify, but we didn't get this testimony at trial. And this is what Hayden Jeffs would have testified to had he not passed due to a collision. The defendant occasionally employed Hayden Jeffs to assist her with renovating houses. On January 20th, 2022, the defendant, Richins, text messaged Mr. Jeffs, quote, "I did want to chat with you about something super random, exclamation point. Not now, at kids stuff. I'll call you tomorrow if that works. Meet me after by the benches, ma'am." Diabolical. On January 21st, 2022 at 7:24 p.m., the defendant text messaged Mr. Jeffs, "Hey, today snuck away from me. Can I give you a call in the morning around 11:30? On January 22nd, 2022 at 11:06 a.m., the defendant texted Mr. Jeffs, "Got a sec." Mr. Jeffs told law enforcement that he spoke with the defendant on January 22nd, 2022, and the defendant asked him for fentanyl. The defendant told Mr. Jeffs that she wanted the fentanyl for a client who had back pain. Mr. Jeffs told the defendant that he would not get her fentanyl and that the defendant hung up on Mr. Jeffs. On January 22nd, 2022 at 5:35 p.m., after the phone call in which Mr. Jeffs declined to get fentanyl for the defendant text messaged Mr. Jeffs, quote, "Have another one for you. Call me if you got a sec." Mr. Jeffs told law enforcement that during a second phone call with the defendant on January 22nd, 2022, the defendant asked him for propofol. Mr. Jeffs told the defendant that he could not get her propofol. The text messages from January 22nd, 2022 between the defendant and Mr. Jeffs were manually deleted from the defendant's phone. After that date, the defendant and Mr. Jeffs did not communicate ever again. Then they go through some of the underlying things with regard to the murder. Defendant fraudulently claimed insurance benefits on Eric's life. Fraudulent because she lied about a number of things. Pattern of unlawful conduct. The pattern of unlawful conduct is predicated upon the offenses charged in counts 1 through 25. So that is an overview of the financial crimes case. It's a lot more instances of the same behavior that we saw in the trial. The financial crimes case hasn't really had a proper hearing yet, a proper setting. When the financial crimes case was filed, there were a number of hearings where Judge M was asking her defense attorneys on the murder case if they would handle the financial crimes case and if they wanted to trail it behind the murder case. By trailing it behind the murder case, it means nothing really happens in the financial crimes case until after the murder case is done. And there was some pushback with Lewis and Nestor saying they are contracted with the county for defense work. Each time they take work from the county, it needs to be contracted. They did not have a contract for the financial crimes case. They said that the financial crimes case was not really their wheelhouse, which I agree with a lot. But the court asked if they would stand in essentially to represent Kouri as that case got continued behind the murder case. After Kouri was convicted, they filed a motion to withdraw, saying, "This is not our case. We do not have a contract." Judge M allowed them to withdraw from the case, and a new lawyer was appointed. So this is the first hearing where we are seeing the new lawyer. This is the first hearing where the financial case is really standing on its own. And this is the first time we're seeing what kind of pacing we're going to get with the financial case.
We're here for a scheduling conference. What's contemplated?
Well, Your Honor, I have had a brief conversation with Ms. Olson. There is needless to say, a lot of discovery that I have not even begun to get nor review. So before we do anything, I need to have the time to do that. I am actually asking for probably 45 to 60 days to come back.
Okay, October 9, 10 a.m. by WebEx.
Yes, please. And that was the other thing. If we could just have maybe a standing order that Miss Richins be allowed to appear via WebEx from the prison, unless there's something substantive, obviously,
Yeah,
then
that's
we'd
fine.
be able to work it out. But it's much easier for her than to be transported up here for us to get a new date or things
No, I
like that.
understand. Okay. Ms. Richins, October 9, 10 a.m. by WebEx. Please stay in touch with Ms. Fowler. I wish you the best.
That's the entirety of what happened in court today on the Kouri Richins case because the restitution hearing had gotten put over. So we are put over for another date. It's interesting to see that Kouri didn't say thank you, didn't nod, didn't acknowledge the judge at all. Am I surprised by that? Not necessarily. Do a lot of court hearings go that way? Yes, they do. But I will say that I wanted to log in and make sure that we had media access to the WebEx today and the hearing. The hearing started a little later and Judge M was running drug court. And so I had the opportunity to watch Judge M in court, kind of case after case before this case was called, which I haven't really had the opportunity to do. But I really appreciated the way he was running court. And a few things stood out to me. One, he asked everyone that was appearing before them, and again, all drug court cases, he was asking every single one, what are you looking forward to? And having a conversation with them about what they're looking forward to, not just in the immediate future and the near future. He asked all of them about their jobs, asked them about what was going well for them, asked them about what their experience was with drug court. And when there were people who he needed to give a little pushback on, he gave a little bit of pushback, but in a way that is different than I have seen some other judges. There was a gentleman who was in custody for violating terms of probation. And Judge M looked at him and was like, you are making bad decisions right now. And you are in this program so that you can be making better decisions. He said, when you are sober, you are a great employee, a great son, a great member of the community. And none of that is the same when you are not sober. You have got to stay sober and you've got to make different choices. Your employer wants you back. Your family is here for you. But you have to make those choices. And it was very much I am holding you accountable and I am expecting that you will make better choices for yourself because you deserve to make those better choices for yourself. And asked every single person who came before his court how many days of sobriety they had and clapped and celebrated with each and every one of them. And so did others in the courtroom. It was really nice to see how he's running his court day to day, which again makes me all the more outraged when we see the audacity that the defense is trying to pull, because there is a tremendous amount of genuine empathy. And then when defendants were struggling a little bit, there was pushback and accountability. He has an ability to come at that from a place of, you deserve better for you, and I am here to hold you accountable for deserving better for you. When he's saying at the end of the court hearing to Kouri Richins, I wish you the best, I truly think that Judge M is looking at humans being like, you might have ended up in front of me due to a lot of wild choices, but genuinely handle your stuff and take care of yourself. Thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed this episode and don't want to miss updates on your favorite cases, you're going to need the Law Nerd app at lawnerd.app.com. That way you can stay in the loop on the cases that matter most to you, and you never know when you're going to catch feelings for a new case. So make sure you get it for free on iOS and Android. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being a Law Nerd.